under cold Midwest skies. Something lurks through the dark. From the rolling hills to the flatlands, they move through the fields. They are cryptids of the corn.
Hi everybody, I'm Justin.
And I'm Jay.
And this week we have a brand new segment, Inebriation Station.
Toot toot.
So me and Jay were at a cornhole tournament before this. We may have partaked or not partaked.
Oh, that was
I
anticlimactic.
thought it was going to be louder. In some adult beverages. So, we're not very inebriated, but we have been drinking. Yeah.
We're hoping this will be a little fun journey for not only us, but you too.
Yeah, this is a relaxing kind of night for us. And this week we have a special one. This is a cryptid I have met personally.
You met him personally?
Yeah. I
Really?
got a picture with him. Me and Emily got a picture with him. So this week's episode is bum bum bum, the Hodag.
The Hodag.
I know, it sounds like a dance.
I thought it sounded like a dish,
I could see that too, like a German dish.
like a German sandwich.
Yeah. But no, it's a cryptid.
Cryptid, the Hodag. All right.
Yep, and I have a couple blurbs for you. The use of the word Hodag for a mythical Northwoods animal occurs in print as early as 1870 in a history of Kent County, Michigan. Between 1889 and 1892, several newspapers in New Hampshire to Arizona ran a fictional stories about gullible people conned by a promoter who claimed to have a Hodag, which he showed them for a fee, and the idea of the Hodag was widespread in 1892. Okay, so that's that little blurb. I am already noticing it's a little more difficult to read.
Is that because your glasses, or
my glasses are very dirty?
Or yeah, that's what it is.
So have you ever seen a Hodag besides, I guess, the little one I got on my shelf?
That's the first and only I've ever seen.
Okay. All right, so a Hodag is a very interesting animal. I'll show you a picture. That's what they look like.
That's the old Hodag. Okay.
Very beastly. So, I got a description for you guys at home. A Hodag has the head of a frog, big wide face, the grinning face of a giant elephant without a trunk, thick, short legs with a set of huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, so big spikes and plates, a long tail with spears on the end. The Hodag also has green eyes, huge downward-facing fangs, and two horns sprouting on top of its temples. Yeah. The Hodag reportedly breathes fire and smoke and had a pungent smell. The combination of buzzard meat and skunk perfume.
My two favorite things.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Early reports indicate the Hodag was around 7 feet long, 30 inches tall. The weight was around 200 pounds, and visitors will see a Hodag statue and murals around the... So this is Rhinelander, Wisconsin. You go there, they got all kinds of Hodag stuff. You listened to last week's episode, or this week's previous episode, vacation spots, we mentioned Rhinelander. The Hodag's exact appearance has long been open to interpretation. What do you think so far?
I'm going to need to hear some actual accounts, because this sounds just a little too crazy for me to be...
What's too crazy about this?
Well, okay, I guess maybe not too crazy, but that's very descriptive of...
I mean, we've talked about oil pit squids, giant turtles that have rivaled Moby Dick.
Right. But we never talked about stuff with fire-breathing horns on its head that are elephant face with scales on its back
We
and
talked about
spiked tails.
writhing tentacles that lived in a selenic pit. And you're drawing the line at breathing fire.
Well, yeah.
You're Jay, the guy that's always believing way past mine.
And everything, just about.
And the fire is what's cutting you off.
Well, it's fire breathing. It's like, okay, let's pump the brakes here, for at least for a second.
Magnesium teeth, hollow point fangs that conduct electricity, a methane bladder. It's super easy.
Yeah, you put it that way, you're right. A methane bladder?
Yeah, other animals have it. Camels have it.
Camels have a methane bladder?
Oh, I don't want to get into that right now. That's for our Real Dragons episode.
Okay. Is that where their humps are from?
No.
Okay. Never mind then.
Camels have all kinds of weird adaptations.
Interesting.
So the description is... What about the description setting you off?
It reminds me too much of that thing from Zelda Zelda Ocarina of Time when you find this little... It sounds exactly like that little Dodongo's Cavern. Dodongo, the big dragon-like thing in the cave in Death Mountain.
All right, I'm taking a pause. Jay, keep talking. I'm looking this up.
All right,
How do you spell that?
Dodongo? I don't know. Dodango? I don't know. I think that was his name. I'm trying to remember. Dango.
And
type in Ocarina of Time if you can. Ocarina.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah,
See?
I get. Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
That's what it's reminding me of. And not only that, that thing's fire breathing.
Keep in mind this was in 1893.
Interesting.
So this was a long time before any Zelda or Link games came out.
True. Well, honestly, nothing about it really shocks me until you got to the fire breathing part. That's when I was just like, what? Everything else, okay.
And as far as size goes, it really reminds me of a small American alligator.
Okay, so it's not gigantic or anything.
7 feet long, 200 pounds,
I mean, that's
30 inches tall. That's not
small, but it's not like, I was thinking like...
That's not a big...
Small dinosaur size.
That's not a big American alligator.
It's not, you're right, yeah. It's really not. 13, 14-foot alligator's big.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably average, right? For an alligator?
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, it's nothing impressive.
So nothing huge, but...
I wouldn't be impressed by an alligator of that size.
No, unless it had spikes on his tail and horns coming out of his head and is breathing fire at me.
That's a different kind of alligator.
Okay.
That's called a hodag.
Oh, that's right.
All right, let me take a drink.
Hodalligator? No, that ain't anything. That's
another... Okay.
That's stupid. I made that up.
Well, there's a thing called a bassigator.
Oh my gosh, here we go. What's a bassigator?
Well, that might be another episode.
Okay. Tickle my taste buds, will you?
You didn't listen to me and Emily's episode, and it shows.
Not yet. I've been gone. I've a long week, and I'm back.
I told everybody you were gone for New York.
Okay.
With your girlfriend.
Yeah, with my girlfriend, yep.
And yeah, so everybody knows about that kind of that you went away.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, one of our stops, and I don't have it in front of me right now, was in a museum in Louisiana. In their big main attractions, the bassigator.
The bassigator.
It's an alligator gar.
All right, we'll get to that in the future. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert.
Hey guys, again, I said it on Wednesday. We got all this new equipment. It is friggin' hard to learn. So we're hoping this sounds better. If this doesn't sound better, I'm sorry. Please stay with us. We are really working on it.
Or, yeah, just let us know if it sounds like crap.
Oh, well, no. Well, no, I'll listen as soon as we publish this. Because some of the issues aren't coming up until we publish it. And then we hear, the volume. I know the volume is really low. So I have all the volumes turned up on max right now on both mics. So I'm hoping it records louder so it plays back louder. But even when I have the normal episodes and I play them back, they're still loud until I publish them.
Yeah. And
then they get really quiet. So I'm not a tech person.
And me neither, not really.
So we're hopeful for that, And I went over all of our conferences on Wednesday. I went over the ones. We have Ohio Bigfoot, the Michigan Bigfoot, Bigfoot and Brews, and Hocking Hills Bigfoot conferences. My wife just sent me the link to sign up for the West Virginia Bigfoot conference. I was happy with 4, and Emily really didn't want me to do any more. But she may want to. I don't know. She may want to do this one.
All right.
Because she just sent me the link for it to sign up as a vendor.
I think it sounds like she's
and we're
giving you that green light.
Yeah, and we're trying to get into Cryptids of the Corn, or not Cryptids of the Corn.
That'd be us.
Crypticon.
Right.
I did that sober earlier too.
Yeah.
Crypticon that may not happen. That's a hard one to get into.
But we might put that up as a goal.
I've messaged them and I've emailed them. And I haven't heard anything back yet.
Yeah.
Not saying anything. I know they probably get hundreds of vendor applications a year.
All the time. Yep, I'm sure.
But that's a goal. We know some people down there, so hopefully it will work out.
But
all right.
Back to the Hodag.
The Hodag. So the official story. And once again, everybody, we've talked about this before. The accounts and stories and versions of stories kind of change depending on where you go. This one is no different. It gets argued a lot whether the guy I'm about to talk about, Eugene Shepard, Mr. Shepard, whether he caught one Hodag or two Hodags. I went with the two Hodag story because it made more sense in the timeline.
Okay.
So that's why we're going with this version of the story. It may not be the version you know, and it may not be the version... I know there's a TV documentary. I've watched it, but I can't remember which version they went with. So I just want to put that out there. This is just the version we're going with. It's a story. It's not... we're not saying this is law or nothing like that. Alright, to continue. On October 28, 1893, Rhinelander lumberman Eugene Shepard wrote an illustrated column for the town's newspaper, the New North, describing how he had captured a Hodag. Starting on January 1895, that's already a big jump in years right there. The lumber company ran newspaper advertisements twice a month, using Shepard's illustrations to prove a new bit of information about the beach in each display ad.
Okay.
So a new little tidbit. So for a couple years, they were running a little tidbit about this, the Hodag.
Interesting. Okay.
So this is where it kind of hops around. Sorry, I'm reading. In August, so he had a Hodag, and he was taking it to fairs, and it was... I'm trying to say this without spoiling anything. Okay. So he had a Hodag. Him and his guys caught this one, and they showed it a couple times, and then it got away.
Okay.
That's the first Hodag.
The Hodag got away.
The Hodag got away.
Okay, gotcha.
So, in 1896, Shepard claimed to have caught another Hodag. This one was captured alive. So the first one they either killed or it got away. It's kind of, like I said, everybody, there's a lot of gray area with these stories. I mean, we're talking something over 100 years ago.
Right, yeah. 1890s, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 120 years ago.
Yeah. So,
plus.
I think the first one was dead. This one they captured alive. According to Shepard's report, he and several bear wrestlers, which was, I guess, a job in the 1890s.
Oh, yeah.
Placed chloroform on the end of a long pole. They chased the creature into its cave, and then they pushed the chloroform rag on the end of the pole into the cave, and they knocked the Hodag out, and then they captured the Hodag. He then displayed the Hodag at first in the Oneida County. How do you say that?
It looks like Oneida?
Oneida County Fair. Thousands of people came to see the Hodag at the fair and at Shepard's display in his shed. So they went to the fair and came to this shed at his house to see the Hodag. They were charged 10 cents for admission. I'm trying to not spoil anything. So basically, he would have the cage the Hodag was in. Yeah. The Hodag would be bouncing around in the cage. You could see pieces of it. It was covered. You'd see claws and stuff like that. And then about every show, before he'd unveil the Hodag, he'd break out the bag and take off. And yeah.
How inconvenient.
Yeah, it happened.
It must just be stage fright, you know?
It was a powerful creature, and I think it was all the people were spooking him.
and it'd break out of its cage that he happened to bring it in there with him.
Yeah.
You know, it stayed in the whole time until...
And he recaptured it every night to get it back in there.
Well, at least he's smart.
In order... Oh, yeah. Sorry.
But, anyways.
I'm reading, sorry.
No, you're fine.
The capture and display of the Hodag was covered in a trade journal called The Timberman and spread from there to newspapers as far as Philadelphia over the next several months, often being reported as authentic scientific discovery. Shepard exhibited it to all fairs all around after this, and Rhinelander home, he exhibited it at his Rhinelander home for years to come. A newspaper locally, statewide, and national began to pick up the story. We already kind of talked about that. A small group of scientists from the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. announced that they would be traveling to Rhinelander to inspect the apparent discovery. Their announcement spelled the end of Shepard's gimmick. And he was forced to admit the Hodag was a hoax.
So, was it a hoax?
So let's go back. So I have notes. That's why I was trying not to read over them. I highlighted stuff to not read during. So before I got to the hoax part, what were you thinking?
So, what I was thinking, the moment you mentioned leaving tidbits for the paper, that's tipping me off to say, like, hey, if you're not, willing to tell the whole story, but you're only willing to tell parts, when you have the whole story in your possession, there's something fishy there for me.
So here's what I'll say to that. I do agree with you.
Yeah.
99% of the time. But if you are a smart man with actual crucial data,
yeah, and
you want to make a dime,
that's
the way to do it.
That's the thing. If you want to make a dime,
if you're savvy enough, and to me, the scientific discovery would be enough. But if you just want the money, I could see you holding out.
Just the slow drip of information coming out,
because you get paid more.
Right. I guess I could definitely see that angle.
But I'm not disagreeing with you. That is definitely fishy.
I think definitely.
But I could see that because I know. So I guess there's other things that I know people have done that with. They take that information as credible.
And it just seems like if someone were to do that, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like, let's stretch this out, stretch this dollar as far as we can get it. Tickle the taste buds, feed the baby birds. Their mouths are open, just waiting for that more information. And if you're just sprinkling it, spreading out as long as you can, it just makes me feel like, what are you really trying to do here until the end? Until you get pushed into a corner to where you admit it's a hoax.
And he got, sorry if I told the story not as good, but he got pushed into a corner pretty quick. So, basically, he did this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I believe I read somewhere he did 150-ish fairs in one summer. And had thousands of people come to see this thing.
And every time
it broke out.
Man, you think after like the first or second time he would have got a stronger cage or a stronger anything?
Yeah.
A leash?
Yeah. That's if we were talking about a biological creature.
Right. That's what I'm saying here.
The Hodag's actually a supernatural entity.
It might be.
Lives to torture him.
And maybe it's so. Yeah, maybe this is all ploy from another dimension. Something's transmuting itself into a Hodag here on Earth. Just a toy with the mind. What's his name again?
Oh, Shepard.
Shepard. Just a toy with him. I wonder what he did in his life or former life.
Eugene Shepard.
Oh, his name's Eugene?
Yeah.
Can't trust him.
Didn't we have another Eugene in the Turtle story?
Can't trust him either, if that was his name.
What was the Beast of Bosco's? Oscar was the original farmer, but I think Eugene's the one that tried to kill him.
See, I can't remember.
Anyways. So, he gets backed into a corner pretty quick, where the Smithsonian has put together a small group. And I've read different reports about the Smithsonian, whether this was a spiteful thing
Yeah.
or a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Smithsonian doesn't send groups of people out very often. I believe in the documentary, they kind of played up a little differently, where the Smithsonian was coming, and it broke out on the way for the Smithsonian to come see him.
Not again.
And I don't want to display, because I've heard a couple people that claim actual sightings of this thing.
Yeah.
And I will never be the guy to tell you didn't see what you seen.
Right, yeah. And same here. I would never do that to someone. If they saw it, I almost believe you're going to see it. But if I can question or poke holes in, like, what you're thinking, if you're giving me, like, the vibe of, I'm making this up.
As far as the guys claiming that it was a hoax after,
mm-hmm.
we've had that in all kinds of stuff. Where later on a guy will claim it's a hoax, and then people still take it credible. Yeah. Or, they were bullied into saying it was a hoax.
Right, yeah. Which that happened in the story with the creature that took that small boy and drug him up the tree. Didn't they say that?
Yeah.
They didn't see it?
Yeah, which one was that?
This inebriation stations.
I don't know. It was the big lizard. By Loveland.
Mm-hmm.
The Brunswick Beast or something like that.
That's going to bother me. It's on our map probably right behind us, and I can't remember. We only did this episode a couple hours. We've had a little...
The inebriation station's a little rough.
Yes, cornhole tournament was a lot longer than we thought today.
And if anybody from the Midwest, maybe not Appalachia, anybody from the Midwest listening, you can understand... We've been at a cornhole tournament for like 6 hours.
Yeah, wait. What do you think?
It was 6 hours.
What do you think is going to happen there in that amount of time?
Yeah.
With access to inebriation.
Adult beverages.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyways,
inebriators. Is that a good?
Yeah, I think
is that a real word? If not, it is now.
So, after he came out and said that it was a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
He had a rigged system. Basically, he was really ingenious. So his cage system, his two sons would dress up as the Hodag, but he had wires and pulleys, so like claws would come out the top and everything like that.
Yeah,
it was really a show.
Yeah,
because you got to think he did this for a long time, and people never got mad they didn't get their money.
Yeah,
people weren't going to this to really see a Hodag. Most of them. Most people were going to this for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a whole show of him talking about this creature, and in the back the cage starts to shake, and then claws pop out and fire, and then you see parts of this creature, and then it breaks out. So you get a whole performance. And it seems, and this is talking over 100 years ago, it seems that this is what people were enjoying. They were enjoying the satire of it. It wasn't people going to see... It's hard to explain. It wasn't people going to see a Bigfoot in a cage.
Like a monster, yeah.
They were going to see a creature they knew wasn't real do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a play.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, that's what it was,
yeah,
right?
That's what he turned into. It was performance art. That's a good way to put it. And I really... from everything I've read, most people knew when they went to see that the Hodag was not real.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is like his 140th escape.
Well, they might think this time, maybe it won't escape.
You probably had two guys that came to every show for that reason.
Yeah, following him like Beyonce on tour or something. Like, maybe this time it won't get out and we'll get to see it.
The original Hodag was basically a partially sculpted wood, cowhide and horns. And it was just weird. I don't know. I didn't put up the picture. But the first one they killed was on a log with all the other timbermen.
Yeah.
And it is the goofiest single-looking thing.
Yeah.
Let me pull up a picture for you.
As far as, like, do you think, like, it was a man-made stage photo?
Wait till you see this, and you tell me what you think.
Okay, I gotcha. So that's what you're saying by goofiest. Not that it was a goofy-looking biological creature that actually existed, right?
No, it was the goofiest friggin' thing ever made.
So, I mean, with it being performance art, do you think... here's the picture. Okay, yeah. If you Google Hodag on Cryptid Wiki, I mean, you'll see what we're looking at. Yeah, that looks pretty goofy. It does. It looks like something out of like a Oh, I can't even think of that art style. I almost want to go back to Zelda and stuff, but like it looks like something like a ancient, like Japanese, like creature you'd see like they'd paint or something. You know what I mean? It just looks that almost exaggerated and
it's very goofy.
Yeah, it's exaggerated. That's a good.
Yeah.
I think every feature on it, like every curve is exaggerated. Every spike is exaggerated.
Its spines are 2 foot tall.
Yeah, its jaw is chiseled and round and square and. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really like a bulldog and an alligator had a baby with a porcupine.
Right, and some dinosaur somewhere along the line, or a salamander maybe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's weird looking. But you know, if someone's doing that, I have no problem with it at all either. Like,
it's a ball. So I'm going to tell you. Well, no, we'll keep this discussion. So I have another section called the aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
And what a smart town does. So continue with your thoughts.
Oh, I was just going to say, if someone wants to kind of put this thing together, it really is just like an art piece. I mean, that's the best way to put it. You're putting together this whole show that you're creating for yourself from scratch, whether it's real or not. If you're creating the idea that people perceive it's real and you're putting this thing out that's actually breathing fire, that's actually having claws pop up, even though you're not going to see it just under a sheet, if you can create that, like I'm impressed. Like that's pretty awesome.
He literally had, so when we're talking about Shepherd in the 1890s, he literally had, keep in mind, we're talking about county fairs in the 1890s.
Right, yeah.
He had thousands of people coming to see this thing.
I mean, that's impressive. That's very impressive.
He was a very smart man of his time.
Mm-hmm.
He put on a good show. And as far as I could find reading, nobody ever got angry.
Right, yeah.
They never seen the Hodag.
Well, that's because everyone that, did get angry was shot and killed and never published in.
Yeah, they were fed to the Hodag.
Yeah.
You want to see a Hodag?
Not one.
Back at 9.
Not one negative review. No, but I see what you're saying. But how could you, though? Even if, let's say it was, you went in anticipating it was real and it escaped, how could you get mad? It escaped.
But everybody, so I was just saying, if you took it as real,
yeah,
you got mad that it escaped, or didn't get mad that it escaped, but then you hear that it's escaped every night this week.
Right, yeah, right.
Then you're a little peeved.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, good on him for, getting into that market of, I don't believe in deceiving people. I don't think that's
I don't think he was. And I think now it was twisted to be that.
Oh, okay. I see that. Okay.
I think it was always in fun.
Right, yeah.
Or like you said, performance.
Yeah,
or,
performance art. It really is.
I think people, the newspaper and the magazines and stuff like that may be a whole different story. Because you're talking about people hundreds and hundreds of miles away reading these stories.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the people that came to the fair. And this is just, my research and what I could find. There was never any outrage. Because you hear of snake oil salesmen and stuff like that have problems. Mm-hmm. And they get found out. And they ran out of town. This thing escaped every night. Nobody blew their lid.
Right, yeah. Was this story only local, or was it a nationally spread story at that time?
Okay, it spread nationally. The Hodag story did.
Ah, gotcha. That in the 1800s, 1900s, early 1900s. Yeah. Interesting.
As far as I know, I don't know how far he went for county fairs.
Gosh, how far can you go though? You can't go that far.
Yeah, I mean,
you're hitting your state, the next state over, and maybe the next state over. Besides that,
sure, but I think we're talking about before gasoline-propelled automobiles.
True. True. I can't remember when all that started. Are we talking about steam or water-propelled automobiles?
I'm not
or are we not getting into that?
Like horse.
Oh, okay, horse and buggy.
Horse-propelled.
You do know. Now, not to go off topic again. Here's a little tangent for our friends here. Gasoline-propelled automobiles were not the only or first automobiles, I think, out on the market. I believe there were battery-powered ones, electric ones, and water steam-powered ones.
I know about the water ones.
Yes, and electric, before the gas one became mainstream.
Yeah, the water one just wasn't efficient. It took forever to move.
So they say.
Well, you had to pull so much fuel with you to go anywhere. Gasoline was a much more condensed fuel source.
Now that I agree with. However, I did build 3 years ago. I built a hydrogen generator, and it put out so much freaking energy.
Your water one was a steam
powered. Ah, you're right.
Not a hydrogen. That's a whole different system. Just because they have water.
But it ran off water. The fuel source was water.
That's different, though.
True, but it was electric and
We're
electric.
talking about they had to pull coal or wood with them.
Well, shoot, that's what trains were for.
But that's the point, is why they're a train, not a car.
I guess, but then why are we still? I don't know. Different subject.
That's why trains are still here. That's because they're efficient when you can haul enough fuel.
Different subject.
Okay,
Let's move on. Let's stick with the Hodag.
All right, the aftermath. The Hodag became the official symbol of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Rhinelander High School mascot.
That's pretty awesome.
It lends its name to numerous Rhinelander area businesses and organizations. The Hodag also lends its name to the image on the Hodag County Festival, or the Hodag Country Festival. And me and Emily are looking into this today. It is a giant country music festival.
Really?
It's wicked.
That's surrounded like the Hodag
around
kind
the
of.
Hodag.
Now, how awesome is that?
It's wicked. It's big and it's awesome. Yeah, so we were maybe going to vend it next year.
Sweet. I would be down for that. I mean,
the city of Rhinelander's website's called Rhinelander, the home of the Hodag. It has a larger-than-life fiberglass sculpture. That's the one I showed you. Hodag, created by a local artist. That's the one in front of the town hall.
Gotcha.
Or it's in front of the Chamber of Commerce.
Wow.
And it has upwards of 30,000 visitors a year to the statue. And in 2015, a version of this fearsome creature, the Hodag, is now a 3,000-pound carnivorous bull-horned rhinoceros with a spiny back and a what do you say? How do you say?
What's that? Antipathy?
For lemons. Does that mean like or dislike?
What? Oh wait, read the whole sentence again. Antipathy.
Okay.
I'm guessing on that word. I hope I'm right.
Spiny backed and antipathy for lemons.
For lemons?
Yeah. So is it like or look up that word?
I can't. My phone died.
Oh, let me look.
I can't do no research.
Oh my gosh, this is why we need Emily.
I think he would like. I think that just sounds like a like word. But side note, real quick. Imagine what would be better than bringing a whole community together to gather, whether it be a festival or something fun, than a cryptid. You know what I mean?
It hates lemons.
It hates lemons. I was wrong.
It really hates lemons. It's a word for the deepest hatred you can form.
I couldn't be further off. That's so funny.
So, hatred for lemons. Its tears are gem-like. The creature is a master of the Michigan lumber woods since the death of the giant lumberjack Paul Bunyan. The Hodag has the highest ferociousness level in the book. The scientific name of the sorry.
Never mind.
Yeah, I got off topic. Basically, there's a book that rates this as the highest level of ferociousness as far as cryptids go.
Well, that would explain, though, at least how it escaped from its cage every time. I mean,
it's freaking mean.
Yeah, that would explain that. It just beat up the cage and got its way out. I mean, why not? It probably melted the bars with its own flame.
I'm glad I don't got to read anymore.
Yeah, the reading part's done.
The inebriation station is not good for a script.
No, it's probably not good for just freelance talking either. But I mean, if the whole story, here's my idea of the whole story.
Are we going into the final thoughts?
Maybe not quite yet, but
I'm trying to think. I got more to tell you before we go into final thoughts. We got plenty of time.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it. Because I feel like you're about to kind of hit the edge of final thoughts, so we'll hold that.
Okay.
Can you hold it?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in modern day times, in the documentary you guys watch, I believe it's on Amazon Prime, the Hodag story.
Okay.
Me and Jay may watch that after this.
Yeah.
But like the mayor, on all these people are really like into the Hodag, as they should be. As you were saying, it's very awesome that a whole community has come together and embraced this.
Right.
And it's really for their benefit.
Right,
It's not a big town.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have a music festival that gathers thousands, and they have 30,000 visitors to their statue.
Right. Yeah, why not?
I mean, if you're a restaurant, imagine if Ada, our town is called Ada.
Very small.
And I think Rhinelander's smaller than Ada.
Really?
Imagine if we had 30,000 extra tourists.
There wouldn't be enough room in this town for that many people.
But
like literally, there would not be.
I mean, there's 365 days a year.
Yeah.
So that's 100 people a day that are just tourists.
Right. Yeah, that would be insane.
I mean, how much more dollars they're spending?
Yeah. Oh yeah, economy wise, for sure.
And I don't think. So I want to make it clear. I don't think anything that Rylander or anybody with Rylander is doing is malicious.
Right.
I think it's all in good fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody has that spirit about it. That this is... well, I don't... So, like, there's a couple guys. I can't think of the one guy. The guy's not the mayor, but he's on the documentary, like, all constant.
Mm-hmm.
Saying the Hodag's real, and he does the showboat tours, the Hodag's real. That's what you want. When you go to Rylander, you don't want to hear the Hodag's a hoax.
Right, yeah.
You want to go on a Hodag hunt. You want to go on a Hodag boat tour.
Right, yeah.
And so it's not... I can't speak for this man. And I'm glad I don't know his name, because I don't want to use his name. I really feel like he doesn't actually believe fully, like, he doesn't believe there's a Hodag out there running around. Not saying there couldn't be a creature that's similar to Hodag. I just think this particular story is fake.
Mm-hmm.
But he sells it, and it sells a certain amount of wonder to these people.
Right, yeah.
And it's good. It's a good thing. It brings joy to the people that are going there.
Curiosity and wonderment, so good thing.
And I just want to make that clear. I don't think anybody that's involved with the situation is malicious in any way, shape, or form with gaining money on it. You should put up signs.
Right, yeah.
Money.
Right, yeah.
Everybody's out to get money.
Mm-hmm.
Why shouldn't a small town?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you need it, so...
Because I've heard some negative comments about this stuff with just a money grab. Same with Falk, Arkansas. I talked about that in the last episode with Emily.
Yeah.
Point Pleasant, Mothman. I want more of that, where these towns grab a hold of this as an identity. And, you know, they don't falsify information, but they really... I think Point Pleasant's a good example of that. They don't add new stuff or new sightings or nothing like that, but they just... This is what happened here, and we're proud to share it with you.
Right, yeah.
We have Mothman cookies. And, that stuff. Me and Emily bought a Mothman cookie. And they were the nicest people.
Yeah.
We're going to go maybe back to Mothman stuff soon.
Okay.
That's the only hint anybody's getting.
Bum. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Foreshadow.
All right.
Dramatic irony.
So, as far as the story is concerned... Where are you falling on it? Are you feeling hoaxy, or are you feeling...
I'm feeling hoaxy, but I don't think I would normally say this, but I like the hoax. I like the idea of the hoax behind it. I like everything behind it. I'm all on board. I like it. Because if someone can just create this thing, whether they saw it or not, maybe it was inspired by something he saw. Who knows? Or something else. What if, like, Bigfoot inspired him, And, like, oh, there's this creature out here. Well, what if I create my own creature, And then he built this contraption that people saw the claw, saw the flame and stuff. That's pretty cool, if you can just make that piece. And then get people on board to actually pay money to see it and enjoy it and not have, like you said, a negative review. Not that we know. I'm sure there was probably people that
I don't want to paint that picture.
But
what I meant is there's no... public outrage,
and it didn't carry on.
Yeah, you could see, like, there was no mob.
There's
after this
right.
guy.
There's always one or two. There's always, who knows, but it didn't. That part didn't carry through. That's the good part. I mean, if that part would have carried through, then that means that would have been the most part. It would have been a big hoax, like, you're just stealing my money. But it seems to be like people enjoy it. I enjoyed the story of it too, and
I'd have paid my 10 cents.
Right, yeah, just to see. And I went to the fair, it's probably been like 3 years ago now, and they had the advertisement for the world's largest horse. You ever see that?
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about this.
But
go on.
No, not only, I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll give him $5 or however much the ticket was to see it. I want to see the world's largest horse. Let's just see this thing. When I went in there, I'm telling you, it was the world's largest horse I've ever seen in my life. This thing was so big and so wide. Like, not only was it huge, it looked like it was jacked and fat, if that even makes sense. Mm-hmm. This thing was so huge and muscular and fat and gigantic. It's like they were feeding this thing steroids just to make it huge. It was so freaking big. But I enjoyed it. Like, this was amazing. And if
I do all those at the fair.
Right. And
for $5 or $10.
And imagine 150 years ago, whatever, someone has a thing.
That's a good point. We didn't bring up.
Yeah.
So today, sorry, I didn't mean to
You're good.
cut
You're
your
good.
thunder. But you had a really good point. Today we'll have a much different look at county fairs as we did back then.
Yeah.
Back then they were great sources of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain. This was the thing.
Right. Yeah.
Your county fair for the year
This is the big event.
The big event for your whole county.
Yeah.
We live in much bigger communities now and stuff like that, so county fairs kind of get washed away. I'm on a couple county fair boards. I help out with our county fair, specifically poultry, but it's still a giant thing, don't get me wrong. But you're talking about back then, this is like what brought all these people together.
Right.
This is when an average Joe could compete in something.
Right. You don't have people. Not everyone in the world that has a smartphone nowadays has access, or everyone that has a smartphone nowadays has access to information all around the world. All around the world.
Right.
Back
and that's
then,
another point.
Everything's very localized.
So when you see your flyer come out, and they were big poster flyers, and you see something called a Hodag.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole level of entertainment I think is lost on us today.
I agree.
And I don't want to. It's weird. I don't want to belittle that. I don't want to skip over that because that's like, even though this guy was claiming it was real and everything like that, he was a showman, and I just think that was just something so like that. The county fair at that time was the premier event for most of rural America.
Right. Yeah.
Which was the majority at that time. We're still the majority, but people would pretend like we're not.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. There's more trust. There's more people and more space out here than you can even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
In the continental United States, in the Midwest region in particular, than there are in any city you can even imagine. Sure,
this was our thing, the county fairs, and they still are big, but they're not like what they were.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, so that was a good point. I just wanted to alliterate on that.
Oh well, thank you. I mean, it's a form of entertainment. It's like the new Marvel movie that's coming out that everyone wants to see. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last one I've seen though. I don't watch the superhero movies anymore. I don't know. Just let's say it's a new movie that's coming out. Everyone's anticipating to see it. You see the commercials for it. You see the flyers for it everywhere. You finally go to see it, and you see it. You may be impressed. You may be not. But either way, you were probably entertained. And this is the same thing, but 150 years ago. If you see that poster of this creature, quote unquote. But if the guy in the 1800s could build a cage with these pulleys and wires, whatever he was doing, that even shot flames, like that's impressive.
And with the flame shooting, about half the reports said that he shot flames out of the cage.
Yeah.
I think it did. That's a good selling point.
Heck yeah.
I wouldn't say it's extremely hard to do.
Probably not, but
enough to,
for the average, I don't know, farmer or average Joe, the guy that just...
He was a lumberjack.
He was?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, well, shoot. I mean, just the average person that's never seen that before.
Lumberjack that hired bear wrestlers.
Right, yeah.
People don't realize how many professions have disappeared.
Right.
Bear wrestling. I think I could be a bear wrestler.
You probably could be.
I'm big enough.
Or a bear.
Yeah. Different connotation today.
Not that kind of bear. We're not talking that kind, but I'm just saying you're big enough.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? So you fall pretty hard on the hoax.
Yeah, I think it's a well-embraced, elaborate hoax that has good intentions behind it, and I think that's the important part. There really is good intentions behind it. I think it's for fun and entertainment.
Yeah. I'm not sure it was good intentions for Shepard,
mm-hmm.
but I think whoever Rylander as a community took it and turned it into something wonderful.
Right, yeah. Right.
And I'll tell you my Hodag experience at the end.
All right.
Me and Emily touched a Hodag.
You touched a Hodag. It was an authentic Hodag?
Yeah, a Hodag from Rylander.
Was it that one on the shelf?
No.
Oh.
That one is from Rylander, though.
Is it the stuffed Hodag I'm referring to?
Yeah, sorry. I got a little Hodag on the shelf. It's a little stuffed thing. But no, I looking at the pictures, it's an obvious hoax.
Right, yeah.
It was never not a hoax.
It literally, the pictures made it look like a cartoon, but it was a real picture.
Everybody look this up. If I can remember, if Jay reminds me, I'll put it on the Facebook page here in a little bit.
Okay.
It was always a hoax. And that he made some money off of, and he entertained people. So, there was never any, I don't feel ill intent, or I don't feel like anybody got screwed over in the deal. I mean, we're talking over 120 years ago, but...
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing that Rylander as a city did with it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did they fully embrace it, they turned it into some wonderful things. The Rylander, or the Hodag Country Concert.
Right, that's pretty awesome.
And down here in Ohio, we have Country Concert.
Right, which is huge.
And from when I was looking at lineup and tickets and everything, it's not far off from.
Oh, really? I was going to say, because the one here is gigantic.
It's big. It's nothing as big as Country Concert in Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio
is insane.
Ohio's got a lot of the biggest of a lot of stuff when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because we have a lot of people that don't have a lot of stuff to do.
Right, yeah.
When you go over to, like, Indiana, that still have about the same type of people.
We got Country Concert, probably the biggest, one of the biggest country concerts that's, I don't know, it's gigantic. We got one of the biggest rock concerts, Rock on the Range, that's here.
Rock on the Range is humongous.
And this is music we're just talking. We got one of the biggest...
Southern Ohio.
If you know what tractor pulls are, if anyone's familiar with that, they can Google it. We got one of the biggest tractor pulls here in this series.
Nationals here.
Yeah, Nationals is here in Ohio. Like, there's not much... I don't want to say there's not much to do here in Ohio. There's not. But you find things like that.
You make your own entertainment.
Exactly.
I think that's a good Ohio thing. No, how off tangent do we get on this stuff? But Ohio, like, I create my own entertainment all the time. Whether it's, I run a couple clubs, or we do this podcast together. I help out 4-H and stuff like that, with my other exploits. Right. But I do a lot because I think Ohio's weird. And I'm not talking about the 3 C's.
The 3 C's?
Yeah.
Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland?
Yeah. Anywhere from Ohio. Not from Ohio. The 3 C's are like a line across Ohio. The Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland.
Cuts it right in half.
Yeah. Pretty much everybody in Ohio versus those 3.
Yeah. But, yeah, you're not wrong.
But yeah, we're Ohio. We have a ball. But I think the whole Hodag thing was an obvious hoax. Yeah. I think he started off in the paper stuff, helping sell papers. Mm-hmm. And then he's seen how popular it was. And then he's like, okay, well, let's do a couple county fair things. Because he's like, I already said I killed this Hodag. So I can't take a dead Hodag on the show. Right, yeah. So I got a live Hodag. Yeah. And then when the Smithsonian came, he came right out and said that, it was all a fake thing, just an entertainment thing. And it's weird because it's like if somebody did that today with something, they did a Bigfoot in a cage. Yeah. And it did this every time, we'd be outraged.
Oh yeah, I'd be mad.
But I mean, we've had 120 years to calm down. But I think he was never. I really think most people coming knew it wasn't real. And were just coming for a good time. It was a cheap good time at your county fair. It was I think it was, if I remember my research, I think it was a half-hour show.
Oh, okay.
So it was a good chunk of time.
Yeah.
Wasn't that much.
Entertainment,
Mm-hmm. I think kids got in free. I think he even gave kids stuff.
Oh, see, it's all good fun.
And then I think they still do a Hodag reenactment show.
Yeah.
The same show.
See, that would be fun. I would love to see that.
And me and Emily were talking about, we were going to make sure you go, but going up and doing everything in Rylander.
That's awesome. Huh, this is in Michigan?
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. Oh, even further up.
But there was Hodag Legends on the border of Wisconsin, Michigan.
Gotcha. I think that's what I heard earlier. That's awesome. I would love to see that.
But yeah, so any other final thoughts with the Hodag?
And
I'll tell you my Hodag story.
I just want to hear your Hodag story.
So we went to Crypticon, me and Emily did.
Okay.
No, Rylander had a booth there. And I'm not quite sure who runs the booth.
Yeah.
Whether it's Rylander, the city itself, or if there's like Hodag.com. But they're heavily associated with Rylander.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I wish that more cities would embrace
themselves.
Yeah,
basically
their uniqueness.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it don't have to be a monster or a cryptid or nothing like that,
but just something that's there
your
and
uniqueness.
Yeah.
I can't remember the city, but there's one in Illinois. It's the Rose City.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's painted as a rose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like they embrace their uniqueness.
Yeah, it's their identity.
They got identified as the Rose City, so their water tower is a big rose.
Right. Yeah.
But anyways, so the booth was there. We got the Hodag. I got that, and I got me and Emily Hodag stickers for our windows in the car. And I got something else. But yeah, I got the stuffed Hodag, but there was something else, and I can't remember from the Hodag stand specifically. But anyways, they have a guy that dresses up as the Hodag, and he wears a camera on his head, so you got to see Crypticon through the eyes of the Hodag.
Oh wow!
It was really neat. It's fun. We got pictures of the Hodag and stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it's always good fun. Those guys are super nice. Everybody I've seen from the documentary seems amazingly nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think almost all their stuff has like 4.5 star reviews.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. You know, you're going to have, like we talked about, you're going to have people that just aren't happy.
Right, yeah. No matter what.
I didn't see a Hodag.
Yeah.
Well, neither did anybody else.
Right, yeah. Well, I didn't like that.
I can't stand people like that.
0.5 star review.
I've worked in so many situations with people.
Right, yeah.
I've been cussed out by... Okay, when I was a fishery biologist, fishery technician, fishery biologist, same stuff. There was a lady that had her dog, and her dog was like on me. And I kept asking, is the dog okay to pet? And this is like a German Shepherd Lab mix or something. So not a small dog.
Yeah.
And very easily could be aggressive. Because she is just screaming at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is the dog okay to pet? Is the dog okay to... And she wouldn't answer me. She's like asking all these questions and I wouldn't answer. And finally she's like, yes. And I pet him and he was fine.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I can't believe you're scaring all those horses. And blah, blah. There was horses in the pasture. Watching the guys in the water work.
Yeah.
They were not scared. They were watching these people work. And I'm like, I have all my permits. If you would feel more comfortable, please, call the local police or the game warden. That's what I suggest you do. And she's like, that she was not happy with that friggin' answer.
Yeah.
I just kept telling her, I'm like, you need to call a law enforcement officer. I don't care who you call. I have permits. And I was really respectful. This lady's like standing 2 inches from me screaming over top of the generator. I'm running an electric generator.
Yeah.
And she just was not having any of this. And then the owners of the house come out and she freaking books it.
Oh, really?
And the owner's house like, what's going on? I'm like, the owner of the horse pasture was screaming at me about she's like, she doesn't know anything here. We don't know that lady.
Oh, yeah.
We knew you guys were coming.
Yeah.
And it's just like, some people
just need to, enforce their own will and their own opinions. Yep.
But that was always our go-to, is just call the police.
Right, yeah, please.
I have permits. I don't care.
Yeah.
Call the police. I have federal fish and wildlife permits.
Right, yeah.
Call whoever you want. I don't care.
That's awesome.
It really you change your tune, though, when there's a gun pulled on you. That only happens once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He flashed the gun at us saying we need to leave, and we're like, okay, we will.
Yeah.
We'll get right back in the truck, sir. You have a good day.
That sounds like a future podcast episode I'd like to hear.
Maybe. I gotta look. I have a non-disclosure agreements I'm still signed on.
Okay. Well, maybe.
I gotta look when those expire.
Future seasons episode.
Yeah, guys at home, I'm on like 25 non-disclosure agreements, something like that.
Wow, really?
Mid-20s, yeah.
Huh.
It's because I did a lot of work with endangered species and a lot of lawsuits.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, is lawsuits.
Oh, wow.
Government suing people suing government,
Mm-hmm.
other people suing other people with government involved.
It's all about money.
Those aren't as much. Those are really about water quality.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess kind of everything's about money when you really want to
boil it down. Yeah,
because the businesses don't want to deal with
jeopardize their stake at whatever they got going on there. Yeah.
All right, Jay. Anything else you want to add? We got 6 minutes.
I think I covered all I said I wanted to say at the Hodag.
I'm pretty confident. I may have cut down. I feel that I may have not covered the Hodag story as well as I should have.
Yeah.
But it's a fun thing. It's a ball.
Oh, for sure.
And I really think that the people that run everything in Rhinelander do a good job with everything. Mm-hmm. And me and Emily are going to go, and we're hoping you're going to go with us.
Yeah.
Or we may do a whole podcast thing with it.
Okay.
And I'm excited for it. They do. I mean, they do a good job with everything.
Yeah.
They make it fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what's most important.
Stuff.
That's what's important. Being fun, having a good time.
We got a couple more minutes, but when I went down to Folk, Arkansas.
Yeah.
With the Boggy Creek Monster, they did the same thing. There's Boggy Creek Monster stuff everywhere. Mm-hmm. Museums and tour shops and all this stuff. They don't expect you to see the Boggy Creek Monster when you're there, but. Mm-hmm. It's fun.
It's just a fun experience.
I went to Bigfoot Barbecue and had a Bigfoot pulled pork sandwich.
How good was that?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it was probably a 12 by 12 restaurant.
Yeah.
12 feet by 12 feet. It was tiny and it's packed.
Yeah.
With locals.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Which is neat. And Folk, Arkansas is a tiny little town. I mean, maybe 250 people.
Okay. Very small.
Maybe. But they run a big Bigfoot camp every year for the youth.
Yeah.
And, so they do a lot with the Boggy Creek Monster for good. And I think there's only a couple towns in the U.S. that really...
embrace that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 10. I don't know for sure, because I can only think of the 10 I know.
There's not many.
Yeah.
Definitely not many.
But Point Pleasant's another one where, everybody embraces it. And everybody's so nice in Point Pleasant. Mm-hmm. If anybody's in Ohio or West Virginia or Virginia or Pennsylvania, drive down to Point Pleasant and have a day of it. The guys that run the Point Pleasant Museum are super nice. They have printed maps that are free to the TNT area, so you can find the domes.
Okay.
They're super sweet about everything. You don't gotta buy nothing.
Yeah.
The museum's $5 to go through.
Well worth it.
Pay the guy $5.
Right, yeah.
They have a lot of the original documents. They don't have replicas. They have a lot of the original documents, police reports, and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
And they're super... I mean, it's really... It's well worth the money. I feel like I should have paid more. But we also spent probably $180 in the gift shop.
See, they know where to get it.
We bought tons of gift... And nothing's expensive there.
Right,
it's
yeah.
Not like...
It's just fun stuff, though. Yeah,
like t-shirts are $15 or $20. When you go to some places for
that's typical. That's what you expect.
You can expect $30 for t-shirts at tourism-y spaces.
Oh, for sure. Yes, no joke.
All right. Well, I think we've covered the Hodag.
Ooh.
And that's probably Emily's second favorite cryptid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she loves the Hodag.
Okay,
they're nice people.
Well, too bad she wasn't here to do the Hodag sound. It sounds like it's your turn.
All right. There you go.
Sounds like it could be Hodag.
I'd pee myself if I heard that in the woods.
Yeah, I would too.
All right. Well, I have been Justin.
And I've been Jay.
And we have been your guides this week through the mysterious universe of the corn. We can't wait to see you next week. Peace.
Peace.